Hi, I'm Mark Needham with StarTree, and in this video we're going to learn about partial upserts in Apache Pinot. The partial upsert feature is useful when we want to update some of the fields in a record, but not all of them. We're going to have a look at how to use it using a data generator that simulates motor traffic going past imaginary junctions on a road. And so you can see what comes back here. We've got a junction name, we've got an ID, we've got the lat long, we've got a timestamp of when the event happened, and then we've got the speed that the vehicle was going. Let's now create a Kafka topic. So we're going to use a tool called Red Panda Keeper to do that. So we'll create a topic called traffic, and it's going to have 5 partitions. Once we've done that, we're going to stream the data from the simulator into Kafka using a combination of JQ and then KCat. Notice that we've set the key of the record to be junction ID. Now that's important. We're going to need to remember that for the next section. So if we now have a look at our Pinot schema, notice we've got a schema, it's going to be called traffic, and then we've got to specify some primary key columns. Now, we need to make sure that our primary keys contain the key that was used in the stream. So in this case, it was junction ID. And so if we don't have that key contained, then we can end up like with these records sort of split across servers, and the upsert functionality will be lost. Notice also that some of the fields in here don't exist in the stream, but we're going to derive them from fields that we do have when we get to the table config. So let's have a look at that table config now. So you can see at the top, we've got the table name. So it's traffic, it's a real-time table. If we look down a little bit, we can see we've got a consumer type of low level, so we need to set that to low level for the upserts functionality to work. If we now scroll down a little bit, we can see we've got to set null handling enabled to be true for partial upserts to work. And if we come down a little bit more, we can see the transform configs that are going to fill in those columns that don't exist in the source. So min and max speed are going to take the values from the speed column. Number of vehicles is always going to be 1. And then the time bucket is going to take the timestamp, round it to the nearest 10 seconds. And if we scroll down one more time, we can see our upsert config down here. So notice that we've got to set the mode to be partial, and then we have our upsert strategy. So the min speed column is going to take the minimum value that it's seen so far, so the minimum speed that it's seen so far, for those given primary keys. The max speed will take the max, and then the number of vehicles is incrementing. So it means, like, remember we set it to 1. So the first time an event comes through for the primary key, it's going to be 1. The next time 2, 3, 4, and so on. And the other fields, we're just going to ignore them. So just the first value will stay there, and everything else will be thrown away. And then finally, under routing, we need to specify the instance selector type to be strict replica group, so that all segments of the same partition will be served by the same server. Now that we've had a look at those, let's go on and add the table. So we're going to call the add table command. We'll pass in our schema file, and then we'll pass in our table config file, and then we'll just give it a few seconds to run. And once it's run, we can now open the Pinot UI and have a look at what's going on. So let's have a look. So we can see we've got our table traffic. Let's click on that one, and it's going to write a query that's going to return some of the events that we've seen so far. And you notice if we run it a few times, you can see that more and more events are coming in. Let's have a look at what's going on at one particular junction. So we're going to write a query, so we'll get back the junction ID, the time bucket, the min speed and the max speed, and then the number of vehicles that have gone through for, let's say, junction 1000. And then we'll order it by the time buckets in descending order. And you notice we get back, so it's always for the same junction, remember? And then for each time bucket, we can see we've got the minimum speed, the maximum speed, and then the number of vehicles that have passed through. And you can see there's a little bit of variance across those 10-second buckets. Now, at the moment, we're only seeing the latest state for each junction and time bucket. Pinot's actually been keeping track of all the changes that have happened. It's just that there's an in-memory dictionary that's sort of sitting there, and it tells the query engine the latest record for each primary key, and then that's what it returns. But let's now tweak the query to disable that. So first of all, we're going to call an option called skip upsert equals true, and then let's say we'll just find a specific time bucket. So we'll find 24th of July, so that's today, and we'll get 11, 29, and 40 seconds. And so you can see, now we can see how that record has evolved over time. Now remember, we can't actually see the original data for each record because we're applying those aggregation functions on each of the columns, but we can see how it's evolved. So as you can sort of see the number of vehicles going up and up and up, and the min and max speeds adjusting as new records come in. And so that's the end of this video, in which we've learnt about partial upserts in Apache Pinot. Give it a try and let us know how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video.